On the bus today, coming home from work, and there's this guy who decides to turn on his music from his phone and basically blast it out. I had one of those crappy ass days at work. The weather was drizzling and cold, and he seated just 2 seats over from me. I'm usually way more tolerable of people when I travel, but this was making my blood rise. I waited for the song to finish. I figured he would cut it off, but he didn't. He played a second song, then a third. So I stood up and asked him kindly to shut it off or lower the music. He looked at me, called me a faggot. Can you believe that? Now I've worked so hard, and for many years on my temper and handling situations just like this in a real diplomatic manner. But my heart started pounding in my chest, and that's usually the first sign for me that I'm about to lose it. I found myself frozen. I stood there staring at the man, frozen between attacking him or smiling calmly and be polite about his response. So I took a deep breath and said, "Sir, I understand where you're coming from, and you have every right to play your music. I'm not trying to get in your way or be rude to you. I'm not looking for any trouble either. But if you could be so kind as to be a little more considerate and be friendly about how loud you're playing your music, I would deeply appreciate if you could do so. Please." The guy looked at me, laughed, and said, "Faggot." Now, if this were 10 years ago, I'm ashamed to say it, but the guy would have had a large dent in his head from my knuckle. But on this day, in that very moment, I realized the different kind of inner power I had. I simply smiled back at the man and said, "Sir, do as you wish. I'm sorry if I upset you." And with that I sat back down. He continued to play his music. Now, I would say 5 stops later, I had to get off the bus. He followed me back off the bus. Now, maybe this was a coincidence. Maybe it wasn't. When I stepped off the bus and started walking my way home, he's 10 feet or so behind me, and he says, "Yo, faggot bitch, what you gonna do now, bitch?" I ignored him. I kept walking as if I didn't hear him. But then he shouted, "Yo, bitch, what you gonna do now, huh?" I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but that was all I could stand at that point. The old Michael came back inside of me. I felt myself become who I used to be. So I turned around and said, "I'm so glad you came off that bus, my friend." He said, "Yeah, and why is that?" "'Cause now we get to play." "Play? Play what?" he said. "Play your music. Play your music. I want to hear it. We can listen together." He said, "What?" "Play it. Play it. Play it." He looked at me, turned red in the face, and started backpedaling. So I continued. "You wanted this, huh? You wanted this right now. So come on. Come and take it. Play it and take it." He took off running. And thank God he did, because that was all I had me left to do before I took the next step. I let it come out through my voice first as a last-ditch effort, because I'm sure that what would have happened next, it would have been really bad for both of us.